Well, for the next several weeks, we're going to discuss monsters and chaos as a way, frankly, to deal with all the monsters and the chaos in our world today. This week, we'll discuss monsters in general, our fascination with them, and what they reveal about ourselves and our culture. Next week, we look at humankind's oldest origin stories, the creation myths that almost universally begin with monstrous gods creating order out of chaos. We'll pay particular attention to Genesis, whose theological innovations changed the way we view our relationship with God forever. Then we'll wrap up by looking specifically at Jesus and then the church as chaos monsters. Of course, by then we'll understand why that's a good thing. So this foray into chaos and the monsters who both create and calm it leads us into Advent. And this year's theme is Those Who Dream, which I hope will be a natural follow-on to Chaos, Monsters, Gods. So let's begin by talking about monsters. You're probably already imagining a monster or two. Who's your favorite monster? Why? Think about it, because we'll come back to your favorite monster later. Most of us have a favorite monster, and that's a little funny, isn't it? I mean, we're supposed to be afraid of monsters, the beasts living under our beds and the clowns hiding in our closets. Yet, for tens of thousands of years, monsters have possessed our collective imagination, birthing the cosmic creation dragons Marduk and Tiamat, who we'll discuss next week, the biblical Leviathan, and the other angels and demons of our religions and creation myths. There is more than a macabre fascination at play here. Monsters scare us for the same reason they help us. They reveal what we would become and what we're afraid of becoming without our humanity. And over the millennia, many of us have discovered that our humanity comes from an awareness of something igniting that humanity, something we most often call God. The Latin root of the word monster is monstrare, which means to reveal or portend. Monsters reveal things about us, our cosmos, and our gods. Often, the revelation shocks us into changing our thoughts and actions personally or communally. Both biblical and pop culture monsters are intentionally designed to reveal something about us or the status quo that needs changing or is changing and causing friction. Let's take one of everyone's favorite monsters as an example, Dracula. Dracula is an incredibly layered story about sexual phobias, immigration, and class. Written as the Victorian era was ending, the book examines a society beginning to explore sexual freedom, just as many Eastern Europeans were emigrating west. In this changing world, Count Dracula is a worrisome character because he's an Eastern European, which was racist code really for here come the Jews. Dracula is not royalty, wooing the young British ladies to a romantic foreign monarchy like a Netflix rom-com. He's a rat, corrupting their purity by mixing his foreign blood with theirs. Many Brits were afraid this influx of foreigners would somehow turn their well-ordered society into something chaotic and unrecognizable. Combined with the rampant anti-Semitism present in Europe at the time, it's unsurprising that Dracula is portrayed as a literal bloodsucker. Now, when we talk about Dracula, you might imagine one of the modern takes on vampires, a dashing count from a faraway land, a Twilight-esque, sparkly, never-aging teen fighting his bloodlust with all his willpower. But the original, unauthorized film Nosferatu perhaps best portrays Stoker's Dracula. This blood-sucking, mosquito-like anti-Semitic caricature reflects the early 20th century's tribalism and our continuing irrational fear of otherness. Even today, Dracula, like all good monsters, reveals changes taking place in our world that make us uncomfortable. Dracula creates chaos in the world, necessary chaos that upsets long-held social, political, ethical, and economic systems that are often the real monsters. Our racial and religious biases are so intense, we don't even notice them until they're called out for us. Such is the power of a monstrous revelation. And this is why our series is called Chaos, Monsters, Gods, because one of the most critical aspects of monsters is that by creating chaos, they enable us to reorder the systems and attitudes that must change if we're to thrive as a species. Sometimes we need a monster to teach us a good lesson. Monsters reveal what needs to change, and change is necessary for progress. By this measure, part of our job as disciples is to be monsters to this world's abusive and broken systems. Like Godzilla rampaging through Tokyo, like Jesus overturning the money changers' tables in the temple, we are to reveal this world's corrupt political, religious, and economic structures. To many, that makes us monsters. But if we're paying attention, our gods and monsters reveal and help us reorder the chaos in our society. That we see so many around the world acting so monstrously frightens us. But within this chaos, history proves that God is already working to reorder the system. The noise, the turmoil, they're at a fever pitch right now. Really, it reminds me of a tornado, you know? Because the thing about a tornado is that it winds up and you can hear it winding up. It starts screaming louder and louder, like an old freight train, as it twists its way through your neighborhood until almost suddenly it's gone. If history is any indication, and it always is, this current crop of monsters in our midst is screaming loudest at the end of their tear through our neighborhood. Like the aftermath of a tornado, the destruction is massive and it will be long-lasting. But there is hope. Because what happens at the end of every good horror movie? Well, usually the camera slowly pulls back to reveal people cautiously taking steps, not only to survey the damage, but also to rebuild, repair, and reimagine society together. Because together is the only way we defeat our monsters once and for all. Amen. Well, my friends, I would like you to think again about your favorite monster. Think about your favorite monster and what does it reveal, either for you or for society as a whole. Think about your favorite monster. What does it reveal? Of course, you're welcome to talk about anything that comes up in the discussion groups as well. I'm going to send you into a couple of breakout rooms now. If somebody would volunteer to take some notes for the group so that when we come back together into the main group, we can share everybody's thoughts and have a discussion, that would be lovely. Thank you all very much. Enjoy your discussions.